just incredibly saddened. Incredibly saddened. There's an alarm going off outside again. I don't understand this city. I really don't. I don't look like a celebrity. My name isn't Tom Holland. I don't know why this city is going through so much to abuse me, but this is abuse. So I had to go to store. I had to take my doggy for a walk too. I go down the stairs and waiting behind the door is the manager, just waiting there to jump out toward me. I don't know why. It makes no sense why. I don't understand. I really don't. But because that's my manager and it's the manager of the apartment building, I can't scream. I can't reflexively strike out or anything like that. You really can't do that when you don't own the place. This is why veterans with PTSD should have houses. Houses. So if you want, you can lock that door and say, you know what? I don't let people in. I don't want to let people in. I don't want to have people over. I want to be by myself. Done. But no. Instead of having my benefits, I live in an apartment building where my manager decides that she's just going to hide behind a door. She could take the elevator. She could even take the stairs, but she hid behind the door. So she had to have known by checking the cameras that I was coming down the stairs because there's a camera bay right by her. And then she waited there because I dropped my cell phone in the middle of the staircase. So just in time, so that if there was someone at the end of the door, I would know. And they would have ample opportunity to just open the door and come right through. That didn't happen, did it? So, once again, I'm in a position where I have to say, Los Angeles is a terrible place. It's an absolutely terrible place. And there's no reason to treat a veteran this way. Give a veteran their benefits and let them go their own way. I'm very upset. Hello there, YTL, Humor. Hello. Normally, I'm a bit more upbeat and cheerful and something, but no, I don't speak Tagalog. Sorry though. But what am I supposed to feel? What am I supposed to feel when I have women jumping out of nowhere toward me for no reason? For no reason. I can't stop that if that's in the middle of the street and they need to walk by, let them walk by. I don't own the street. I don't own this apartment building. I don't own the hallways. It's just creepy that women of LA are trying to either jump scare me or harass me. It's creepy. And I don't like it. I'm trying to speak to the VA, but the VA is just like talking to a wall. They keep saying, oh, you're in the development phase. It's like, can you make a decision either way? I have a lawyer, let my lawyer handle it, but my lawyer needs to do something reactively because lawyers rarely do something proactively, especially for no money up front. And it's in his best interest to string me along with, we'll get your benefits, we'll get your benefits, because the longer it takes, the more money accrues and the more that they can take a percentage of. just lack of scruples in the legal department. Just, it's terrible. I don't mind if it's, 20% of something. I mean, I want my benefits too. And it doesn't really matter if I have benefits moving forward, because moving forward, I can move. I don't like this place, I'll move. That's a lovely thing to say. No leases, nada. I don't like it, I just go. Hi there, Stacey. Hello there, Mr. Jeff Stark. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to go to Mars. I know that I do a lot of music, I do a lot of fashion, and I was gonna spend today doing hair and makeup. I did the hair, I didn't really do any makeup today, which I'm very upset about because I had set in motion that I was gonna do my makeup today, but happy birthday, Stacey. I mean that. Okay, I don't know what that is. I assume you're having some sort of thing there. I tell you what, just take 30 minutes and just hang out. It's cool. Come back. You can come back later. I just need to say this out loud. Like I say, there's not much I can do. I can run away, but then I think to myself, no. I mean, these people are horrible, and I have every right to defend myself in certain situations, like when I'm being physically punched and kicked. I have a right to defend myself. I've exercised the ability to not do that, but I do have that right. And a bunch of women jump scaring me all the time. It's annoying, it really is. It sets me back, it really does. I went to the store, and stores are just super stressful for me. I don't want to walk in the aisles, and my animal, my service animal, is very aware of the fact that I have issues in public. So it's like a switch goes off, and she recognizes the difference between outside a store and inside a store. Because inside a store, she knows my anxiety level is through the roof, that my heart rate is high, the blood pressure is high. She can hear it. And so what does she do? She moves very, very slowly. She plots a route for me to move through as safely as possible. And she makes sure that I don't just run off and injure myself by, running off. But I don't really like a whole city or state doing that to you. Well, my dog does it. My dog does it out of love and respect for her partner. But when the city and state does that, it just makes me think, are you any better than what you're trying to protect me from? I had a date planned. I had a date planned for tomorrow. I didn't really think it was going to go through, but it was nice for a second to think that someone found me attractive and interesting and cool. But then my landlord decided that she was going to hide behind a fucking door and jump out at me. And I just said, no, I can't see myself dating. I allowed myself a fantasy of what it would be like to date someone, what it would be like to do regular date couple things, go have a picnic. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not in this state. Because how would I get there? I'd have to take public transportation, but the same public transportation where it is too anxious for me because I can't have women sit next to me. I can't be near women because women always try to talk to me and I don't want to talk to them. Which is sad because like all my heroes are female. I actually like women. I like to, for the most part, enjoy what they have to offer in conversation and what they do for our science, because they're often more studious than men. But I have PTSD. And I'm not dealing with scientists or doctors, people who have something to lose. I'm dealing with strangers with everything to gain. Everything. I didn't even bother speaking to the police about the crazy woman who harassed me on the bus because I said I already gave them my bus card number so they can follow wherever I go. I've already given it to the police. And they already can tell that there's a problem because if hard pressed, they would have to go through every single bit of the footage and they would see these people come out of nowhere to harass me. I don't know why, because there's nothing to gain from that. There really isn't. I'm not famous. My name is not Tom Holland. My name is IanXIlyana. Well, technically that's my artist name, but you get what I mean. And today, the person who I was talking to, they said, "Oh, you're so super talented." And it's to whom exactly? Because my music is maybe played on Amazon. I want to say Adam for Adam because I'm trying to get laid on that. But yeah, it's played on Amazon. I checked the stats. There's 10 people every day who click on my name and say, I want to hear music from me in IanXIlyana. 10, at least. Sometimes 7, but for the most part, 10 people. At most, 30 people. Some in the United States, some in Canada, some in Germany. But I have pretty consistent small group of fans who just say, I have to hear that song every day. And you know what? That's enough for me. That really is. I don't need fans all over the world. I really don't. What I need is peace and quiet. What I need is to go to Mars. I was trying to have a conversation with this person and we aren't compatible, like whatsoever. I was trying to be nice and say, at the very least, we'll date for a while, we'll have sex eventually, and we'll break up. Irreconcilable differences and all that. And it'll be, we won't date for that long, but, for just a little while, we'll have some comfort from each other. But nope. The person was like super weird, kept asking about marriage, and it's like, we haven't even been on a date yet. You want to ask about marriage? It's like, you're not old, I'm not old. I mean, I have really strange, every day is a different hairstyle. I don't even know how I do it half the time. But either way, we were having a deep conversation and They say, can you name a dream that you have that you don't want other people to know about? And me, I'm Mr. Honesty. I'm Mr. Transparent because I don't have anything to hide. I think America has things to hide, but the older I get, I guess I'm not ashamed to say that I'm American, but not that American. Because most Americans, they look at the world and they want to put down roots. They want to put down roots. They want to argue with each other and just go through this nonsense that I just don't understand. And by the way, hello, Furcott. Nice to see you there. But this person asked me, what's your secret dream? And I said, my secret dream is to just leave the solar system. I'm not even that interested in Mars. It's just, if there was someone who's going to go to Mars, I guess it is me. But after I achieve that, I'm looking for a bigger challenge. I'm not going to be satisfied with Mars. Mars is not a challenge to me. I already solved it. I completely solved it. I solve things for Earth too, but every time I try and talk to people about it, they just ignore. And I understand that. That's fine. And hello there, Zachary. You mean, what's the solution to Mars? To terraform it, obviously. But to terraform it in a way that makes sense. Establish gravity, establish air, food production, and get it done. And then use my technology, namely the commute, in order to travel there faster. Oh, the commute is a series of stations and waypoints that go along the way. So it's not a single journey with nothing in between, because right now there's nothing in between. But if you had a series of stations in between that, and then you also had a series of ships in between, then you would be able to, a sky bridge, that might actually be a better way to think about it. I think about it as a commute because I say, what could be better than just having a line of shipment between the two planets? It's going to happen eventually. It's going to happen when this is why I need my disability benefits. Some people, they really want a house. I just want my own lab. Not to work, to volunteer myself to go to Mars. That's not work for me. That's a PTSD settlement. I am so affected by my PTSD, I can't live on Earth. I can't do it. So instead of that, the space elevator is a good idea, but that only really goes from the surface of the Earth to about a mile or so above. There's a certain point that you can't even tack on to the gravitational or the... Oh, hello there, Striked Gamer. Welcome back. I tell you what, if you're still salty, you can take another time out. All right. See you. Space elevator. Okay, well, the only way to really do that is to use a solar generator connected to a maglev, and then use that to create a zone where you can negate gravity by having negative acceleration in the opposite direction from the normal force. You see, Americans would rather use rockets than understand that gravity itself is a gradient. It's not exactly a constant. You just think it is because you live at a certain elevation. But if you move to a different elevation, it's not exactly the same. Not exactly. But that's fine. Ishmael. I wish it was that simple. I wish I could be a regular person who says, "Oh my God, yeah, I'll audition for movies and television, and I don't mind talking to people. Oh, would you like my picture? Like, please, let's do that." What I mean by gravity is not a constant. Gravity is a series of forces which create a sum of different vectors and magnitudes, all acting on a single object, which by itself is not a cohesive mass. When you think of gravity, you think of it as just what pulls you down. You don't think of it as, well, it pulls you down, but it also pulls you across. It pulls you together to other people. It's a bit more complicated than most physicists allow themselves to talk about, because if they have to talk about it, they'd have to admit that gravity affects us because it is not constant, because it has other competing forces. I mean, you think that the earth exerts a force on you, therefore you stay on earth with your feet planted on the ground. You don't think that there's a moon out there, that there's a sun, that there are other planets. All of them are huge, huge compared to you and I. Okay. T-Balls, good for you. My mother passed away. Thank you for reminding me. Dystopia, hi. I'm terrible. I'm absolutely terrible. I had my female apartment manager hide behind a door, not at my request, but because these people are batshit crazy here in Los Angeles. But she hid behind the door, and then as soon as I'm trying to go out of it, she jumps out in front of me. And the only way that she could time it that way is if she's watching me on the video cameras and decided that she was going to do that. And all I can think is that if I'm a veteran with PTSD, I should not live in an apartment building. I don't like to be around people. I'm a community-minded person. I love helping people. I love doing soup kitchens. But even at that, there's a degree of separatism there. It's, here you are, I acknowledge your existence, but I can't go any further than that. Is that where... there is no easy way to say it, Zachary. Yeah, dystopia. That's what I'm saying. You know, this is a weird situation where I'm a veteran with PTSD because the female Master Sergeant Miranda of the United States Air Force sexually abused me. After that, I really don't like to have any interaction with American females after that. Nope, just don't like doing it. And then to top it off, I have crazy women on the LA Metro who either try and grab my crotch, grab my ass, try and harass me, just follow me around, and this is my apartment building. You know, that's... Hello, light bulb. Welcome back and goodbye. That happens every time. I don't know why people do that to an American veteran. No, he questions the validity of things, which is fine, but fill out a Freedom of Information letter and then submit that to the American government. And if they deem that your nosiness is acceptable, they will gladly provide you with a copy of the medical records where I was sent to the hospital after being sexually abused under military orders. But the fact that there are medical records of me going to the hospital after being sexually abused by Master Sergeant Miranda of the United States Air Force is enough. I don't have to prove shit to you. I don't have to prove shit to anyone. That's between me and the Veteran Affairs. So that ends that conversation. All right? So let's catch up on some things here. Zachary, British veteran. I'm an American veteran. I just happen to speak English as opposed to the gobbledygook that Americans speak. I went to American schools and I don't speak American. I don't. That's fine. I don't have to. You know, it's not a rule. And I have that woman outside with her megaphone, so don't mind me. I'm just gonna put on some Daft Punk right now. All right. So for me, I don't see it as that strange because my father was an immigrant. I come from an immigrant family. They have immigrants in America. It was the 80s at the time, telling you my age. What can I say? Just, I'm a daddy's boy, and now I'm a daddy, so a leather daddy, but that's all. I'm an American veteran that served the United States Air Force. I don't speak the language. I don't have to speak the language. I was avionics. I do computers. I didn't need to speak an American accent. I speak to computers. I check their diagnostics. That's it. Where are you from? I'm from here. I live in California, so let's just say that. It's supposed to be C307s and the 747s, 757s. Basically large aircraft. They didn't let me do the stupid fighter jets, and I'm so upset about that. But then again, if I had completed everything, I probably would have gotten to it eventually. Yeah, I know. It's not that odd because the American government has always had people from all walks of life and didn't finish training. They sexually abused me and then ruined my leg. So, no, I certainly didn't. It wasn't anything to finish. I told them point blank, I pretty much joined to join their space program. I'm not interested in really doing anything else. Personally, I don't really give a shit. If they want to firebomb weddings and blow the limbs off children, I don't really give a shit. I give a shit when they sexually abuse American citizens. I don't really care if they're doing, really shitty things to foreign people. That should tell you the level of American patriot that I am, that I'm willing to bend the human decency scale to suit the protection of the country. But it's not protecting the country if you're sexually abusing an American citizen under military orders. It's wrong. Absolutely wrong. All right. Yeah, so they injured my leg. So luckily, I can still hop about. I'm not as nimble as I was before, which is terrible because I'm an Alvin dancer, trained there, and I just was stupid. I actually said I should serve and protect the country because I'm an engineer and I would rather see an American on Mars than any other country. But that's just another life. Just another life. I was supposed to go to tech school. I did not, because I was sexually abused by Master Sergeant Miranda. So that kind of halted things indefinitely. And Jaden, aren't you supposed to be doing your homework? Those grades are not going to get up on their own. Make sure you're doing your homework. Honor system. At what point in your training did that happen? Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. Let's see. Okay, well, spring break. You see, now I know you're a kid. Only a kid would say that on spring break you have no homework. They always assign a large project at the beginning of the break to give you more time to complete it and have it ready for when you come back. So you do have homework. You're just not calling it homework. That is not true. You can't. I've gone to school, mate. I know how this functions. Do not tell me that your school just said, you're a bunch of kids. You don't need any refreshers. You don't need to know this stuff really. We'll just let you slide and, just go play some video games and forget your multiplication tables. Oh, what am I saying? You're like 12 by now. You should be doing pre-calc or at least algebra. Oh, when was I trained? Okay, so this was in basic training. The basic training, they injured my leg. And then while I was injured, and I asked the base commander, can you just let me go home? Let me go home. And you know what that master... I want to demote him and just call him a master sergeant instead of calling him a major. But anyway, that bastard said, no, you have to stay here so that we can return you in proper form. Unbelievable. So I stayed and I was sexually abused while convalescing in a convalescent wing. Lackland Air Force Base. Lackland Air Force Base. So you can tell I'm definitely an American and an American veteran, because no one should ever know that in San Antonio, Texas. Either way, I'm getting riled up over it. I can't let it get to me. I just can't. The United States Air Force were terrible people. Were they court-martialed? No, absolutely not. because they actually convened a little tribunal and said that I was sent to be sexually abused. They planned it out. So instead of court-martialing the woman who sexually abused me, they didn't send a sexual assault response team. They didn't do anything. That's America. That's America. Master Sergeant Miranda should have been court-martialed. Her officer in charge, who I spoke to, and I told him point blank, she is never to speak to me again. She is never to look in my direction. I should have pressed it further. I should have while I was there. I should have. But of course, if I had, I would have had to stay on base at the same exact time that my mother was being buried. So, that's a horrible choice. Because I couldn't even really attend the funeral of my mother because I was sexually abused by Master Sergeant Miranda. So while my sister is trying to comfort me and be there for me, she was a woman. I've just been sexually abused by a woman. Even my own family I couldn't be around. I had to wait outside the funeral. I had to leave. You know how shameful that is? But I couldn't do it. I couldn't be in the same room with my own family members. My own family members. People I've known my entire life. But I was so affected by an American sexually abusing another American. And I know, Paula, you know, this isn't exactly the fun part of it, but I'm going to talk about this every single day. Every single day is going to be a day to talk about military sexual abuse and rape. Why? Because it happened to me, and it continues to happen. We're American citizens. Our bodies don't belong to you. Our bodies don't belong to the American government. We may loan them our bodies in defense of the country, but we are not sexual objects. You can't ask that of us. No, that is not anything in a contract that I read. Show me in the contract to America an enlistment that says that I have to be sexually abused under military orders. Show me that somewhere, because I didn't see that. When did all this happen? 2018. So nearly 8 years ago. Jaden, I read your message. Read a textbook for a while. You know, today is not a good day. It's just not a good day. Paula, if you just came in, I'm talking about how I live in an apartment building specifically designed to torture a veteran with PTSD from military sexual trauma. Me. I have to say me. It's designed to torture me. I have a woman outside with a megaphone every day. I have women trying to break into my apartment. My own apartment manager today decided to check the cameras to make sure that I was coming down the stairs and then hid behind the door to jump out at me. That is the most LA bullshit I've ever thought of. And it just comes to this point where I can never go outside. Do you know what that feels like to say that you can't go outside? I have a service animal, so like it or not, if I don't want that thing to piss or shit all over my fucking flat, I'm gonna have to go outside. But even then, I have to think in my head, am I gonna have some stupid LA woman try and jump out at me? And I know that for most things, it's, well, I mean, that's just poor timing. That's this, that's that. It's no, it really isn't. It's deliberate. Because this is the same woman who said to me, oh, I forgot to turn the garbage chute back on. So when you chuck your rubbish, you can actually open the door and chuck it in there. I forgot to do that. Oh, and that's why you were confronted with the woman and her dog who's trying to bark at my dog. I forgot. Okay. You forgot to turn that back on. Just like you forgot that you were going to open the door. You just stood there. Because I timed it perfectly. Because I knew that there was something that was going to happen. So I dropped my phone in the middle of the staircase to give this person ample time to just come right in. Because I know that this woman's a fucking freak. Flor Jimenez, you're a fucking freak. And yet still, this person decided that she was just going to hover there for no goddamn reason and wait for me. Mark, you're absolutely right. I am a very, very kind person, and I feel like that just, it gets taken advantage of, and it's not appreciated in a city like LA. When I came to LA, just like when I go to any new city, I tried my hardest to just try to be open and say, you know what? I was sexually abused by Master Sergeant Miranda. One person. In the military, specifically in the Air Force, on one base. Let me try and give people the benefit of the doubt. Let me try. It's a brand new city. Because I've lived in other cities, and guess what? The women didn't give a damn. Absolutely didn't give a damn about me, about anything. There was never a vibe of I could be sexually assaulted. Not once. Not once. And I've lived in other cities. Has it been 100%? Absolutely not. There are some batshit crazy women in every city, but for the most part, I never really had that as a serious threat as when I moved to LA. When I moved to LA, I have women groping my crotch, women grabbing my butt in public. It's like, if you were a man and you did those things to a woman, you would be in jail. I would be within my rights to just clock you, punch your fucking lights out, for something like that, because that is unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable. But because I'm a man, I'm supposed to say, excuse me, I do not appreciate you grabbing my genitals. I do not know you and I did not give you permission. Learn to say no. I say no. I scream no. I scream it at the top of my lungs. I have nothing but police reports from every single incident where I had to go to the police and say, this woman's trying to force herself on me. In fact, I even use it as artwork for some of my songs. How many police interactions I've had because of it. And it really isn't an issue of gender. It shouldn't really be an issue of gender. If you are being an abusive person, it shouldn't matter whatsoever. But somehow it's not the same. It isn't. People need to respect people. Thank you, Paula. Thank you. As I said at the beginning, I was gonna have a date tomorrow. I told them that, no, I told him, let me be clear, I have to regender my date. I told him that I had been sexually abused, and I explained to him about my PTSD, and he was angry on my behalf and everything. But then when I said I had a terrible day, just a terrible day, I wasn't going to go into it because this person just doesn't really know me. I pretty much get in response, ugh, I mean, I guess we can talk about it. Really? Really? I mean, you were so into me before and you were so understanding of what it means to be a sexual abuse victim. But when it's not convenient for you, this person was just dismissive of my own feelings, just dismissive of my needs. And I didn't need anything from him. I didn't want anything from him for that kind of attitude. I really didn't. So I canceled that date. I canceled that date. Yeah, Paula, that's it's sad but true. It is sad but true. I mean, I would love the intimacy and the companionship of having someone in my life, but I have PTSD and that changes everything, absolutely changes everything. There are things that happen that affect me. Having any female jump out at you after being attacked by a female, it just makes my skin crawl. It makes me sick to my stomach. I made food and I couldn't finish it. It felt gross. I felt gross and I just wanted to cry and I needed to be alone. And not anyone, not I can't even say it. Nobody's really going to understand that. Nobody really is going to. And if they do, you have to ask, well, why? And that's a horrible place to be in, to say that I'm looking for someone that will understand me, understand my PTSD. But if they do understand the PTSD, you have to ask why. Do they have their own trauma? Do they have a hidden agenda? Do they really even care? Are they just looking for a way to use that to control you? Because I've dated people who thought my military sexual trauma gave them carte blanche to be abusive. And me, I'm just starved for love. Just starved. And I had to put up with so much. Someone who tells me that they love me, buys me a ring, everything. I still have the ring, obviously. I just declined the offer. We declined each other. I couldn't see a good match there. But wanted me to be pretty much on drugs, or wanted to throw things at me, yell at me, just be abusive. And I have to say, I'm worth more than that. I'm worth more than an abusive partner. But it's so hard. It is so hard, because how exactly am I supposed to put myself out there when I can't go outside? And that the only thing I have is this stupid cell phone, which is the only way to speak to people, contact people, put myself out there at all. And Paula and Mark, you're absolutely right. Nobody wants to be used. Nobody asks to be used. It's just something that happens when you're abused, like I have been, by the United States Air Force. It just puts a frequency out there that you've been abused. I don't like that. It's very hard to trust people. It's extremely hard to trust people in California. In California, I would recommend that you don't trust people. I mean, I'm not exactly saying I'm a saint. I was gonna, have fun, but, probably not marry this guy I just met on the internet. I mean, I was gonna be faithful, but do I have a boyfriend? I do not. I do not. I would like one. I wish California hadn't gone about things the way that they had, of having weird, disgusting women try and grab my crotch on public transportation. I wish they hadn't done that, because when I first came to Los Angeles, even with my PTSD, I was of the mindset of, You have to try and give these people a chance, because with being homeless, being a veteran, you're gonna have to deal with more females. It's not like I was sexually abused and then I went to go work on an oil rig. It was, I'm sexually abused and now I'm a welfare case of the system. Happy me. Where are these women from? I've never done that to anyone in my life. Oh my God. California. California. The woman who grabbed my bus was on the 18 line and we were downtown LA, and she grabbed my butt and then she put on a hat as if to say, I'm going to get off on the next stop and there's nothing you can really do about it. If you report it, guess what? They're just not going to do anything about it. And then the woman who grabbed my crotch was an older woman who I was ignoring. She wanted to talk to me. I didn't want to talk to her. I got a creepy vibe, but you know, I was sitting next to her because I said, look, you're an old woman. I don't think you're going to do something. But she just reached over and grabbed my crotch in Long Beach. There's something fundamentally wrong with Los Angeles County and American women in it. Because I didn't talk to you, you thought it was okay to grab my crotch. That's not okay. Absolutely. It's wrong. It's criminal. Absolutely criminal. Mark Twain, you know, it's more than madness, because madness is the randomness, but it's not that random. I was on the way to a veteran conference to speak about military sexual trauma, my military sexual trauma, and to ask for aid, to see if I can get someone to help me. And they still didn't. They still didn't. Instead of just having a regular conversation on what military sexual trauma does and how it affects people, I just spent the whole entire conference crying, just crying amongst a bunch of strangers. And of course, my tears bring what? More women. And like I say, you know, I don't want to be that hateful incel person. Paula, you know what? That's the case. Absolutely, that's the case. Because I screamed, absolutely screamed when this woman grabbed my crotch. I screamed. The bus driver had to stop the bus. She had to get up. She had to walk around. I said exactly what happened, and then I said, I'm getting off this bus. And I walked the rest of the way. Thank you, Happy Me, for saying that. I will be honest. Sometimes I want to talk to people on public transportation. I want to be flirty. I see someone attractive. I want to talk to them too. I want to make a connection. But you know what? I say no. I say no. I control myself. I shouldn't, but I do, because I say to myself, how would you feel if a stranger who you've never seen before, never interacted with, hadn't even started with a hello, and then just left it there, started macking on you, started hitting on you, you would feel gross. If they just skip all of that and just grab you sexually, it makes me very, very, very uncomfortable because it reminds me of my sexual abuse by Master Sergeant Miranda that sent me to the hospital. But this country would rather give foreign aid, it would rather spend a defense budget on missiles that they don't even use, drones that they don't even use, instead of just paying the veteran disability compensation so I can say, you know what? I live in a house, I lock my door, I get all my stuff delivered, and I tell them, you put it at the end of the curb and then you drive off. You don't even come onto my property. I have you put it on the curb and I'll collect it when I damn well feel like it. Thank you, Paula and Mark. And being attractive is just, it's not an excuse to do that to someone. It isn't. This is why I have to have my disability benefits, because I look at the situation with Master Sergeant Miranda. I look at the situation with these clearly mentally disturbed women of Los Angeles County, and I just say, there's something wrong. There's something missing. You're hurting right now. I mean, it's not just that you want to be aggressive and abusive. It's you're hurting and you want to take it out on someone else. So for once, can we ask, why are people hurting in America? Why is it that Americans are so obsessed with rape culture, so obsessed with this idea of dominating someone against their own will? Sexually, if it's between two consenting adults, that's your own prerogative. But if it's based on violence, if it's based on abuse of power, that's not that sexy. I had to think about this today because I'm a grown adult and, I see the power dynamic between things on film. And I start having that conversation now of, it's supposed to be romantic, it's supposed to be sexy, but is it really when you have power over someone and instead of respecting them, respecting that this person is looking to you for leadership, for guidance, and you would use it for your own nefarious purposes? That level of change that we need has to be systemic. And it doesn't just come from money, it comes from health. There is a health crisis in America. Namely, we don't have enough doctors, and the doctors we do have don't look at a complete picture. Mostly because the patients that they have, they don't reveal all of the details that they need, or when they do, it doesn't click with the doctor. Because the doctor can hear things like you're anxious, you're depressed, but they don't ask why. They don't really delve into what's troubling you, and they don't ever offer a solution. And sometimes that solution is leave the situation. And I know that there's an enormous amount of pressure for me to just leave California, but no. No, because at least in California, as disturbing and depressing as it is to have this amount of duplicity, Amazon Prime shout out, Tyler Perry, represent, at least that's more honest than these hokey little small towns that are just as sneaky and corrupt. Hello there, Snark and Sass. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. It'll be a journey to get that far. It'll be a journey. I'm a deeply romantic person, deeply romantic. And it breaks my heart that such a beautiful, sensitive soul cannot connect. Cannot connect. I've written an epic of poetry to women, to men, to the love of science, and I can't share that with anybody. Yo, Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz with the pants that are just so tight. Lenny Kravitz is a sexy man. The whole Kravitz family is that's just strong DNA. If anything, I wish she was available. I would date her just to say, I was part of that. I mean, look, Chris Pratt chose the Schwarzenegger. I would choose Kravitz. Just facts. Absolute facts. Oh my Lord. Oh, thank you. I needed a laugh there. I'm having a terrible day. So thank you everyone for listening to me through this. Appreciate it. I'm going to close this podcast and I think I'm going to open up a new one. Give myself a good 5 minutes to bring myself up again, and then I will come back. It's a very British laugh. I don't really have it in me to do it with any less propriety. I almost wish I was that certain person, Jimmy Carr, so I can go, ha, ha, ha. Oh my God, I did that to that man so much. I did that to him so much on X. He named a whole tour. Laughs funny. And I say I don't have any appeal. Oh my Lord. I was on his X, and every time he would plug a show, I'd be like, ha, ha, ha. I couldn't help it. He's so controlled. It's like nothing is too funny for him ever. He's heard it all before. He must be the most brilliant comedian I've ever seen. That any joke he hears, He's above it. He's above laughing to it. All he can give is ha ha ha. That's it. That's it. He never laughs uproariously. Everybody else does. But he, no, not him. He has such high standards for comedy, being a true comedian. He can never let his hair down and just guffaw like the rest of us. He's really funny though, so I guess he's entitled. But anyway, closing the podcast, and I will come back. My name is IanXIlyana, and this has been I Hate LA. Love me anyway. I will see you on the next podcast.